You don't need another productivity app. You don't need more coffee, more supplements, or a better morning routine. What you need is clarity. Because what you're calling burnout, that deep exhaustion, that crushing fog in your brain, that constant urge to escape everything, it's not burnout. It's distraction. The real cause of your mental fatigue is not overwork. It's overexposure. You're being pulled in 100 directions. Your mind is constantly switching between noise, notifications, videos, messages, worries, temptations, and expectations. And you think you're tired because you've done too much. But the truth is, you're tired because you've barely done anything that actually matters. Let's be honest. You can scroll on your phone for hours, but can't sit still with your thoughts for 5 minutes. You can binge content all weekend, but can't finish a single book. You can multitask like a machine, but feel spiritually hollow at the end of the day. Why? Because your brain was never meant to live like this. Constant distraction is a form of cognitive torture. It's like having 100 tabs open in your mind, every one of them demanding attention, none of them giving you peace. You think you're burned out, but your problem isn't exhaustion. It's fragmentation. Your attention is scattered. Your focus is diluted. And when focus goes, energy follows. What you're really missing is depth. You're missing presence. You're missing the ability to commit to one thing and actually feel it fully. Whether it's your work, your thoughts, your relationships, or even just sitting in silence. When you can't focus, everything starts to feel overwhelming, meaningless, and emotionally exhausting. And the most dangerous part? You don't even notice it's happening. Because distraction doesn't feel like a threat. It feels like entertainment. It feels like coping. It feels like something to do when you're tired. But it's the very thing making you tired. This video is not going to tell you to work harder. It's going to show you how to clear the fog. How to reclaim your attention. How to go from exhausted and scattered to clear and powerful. We're going to explore why modern life is built to distract you, how it steals your energy without you realizing, and what the Stoics knew about focus, clarity, and inner peace that can completely change how you live. If you feel numb, tired, emotionally flat, and like you're constantly drowning in things you don't care about, this message is for you. Because you are not burned out. You are just distracted. And once you see the difference, you'll never let your mind be hijacked again. Identify the modern distraction trap. We live in the most distracted era in human history. And the scary part? Most of us don't even realize we're trapped. We think we're just staying updated, being productive, or unwinding. But what's actually happening is far more dangerous. Our attention, the very currency of our life, is being sold off one scroll at a time. Let's break this down. Open your phone and look at your screen time. That's not just a number. That's your life. That's time you didn't spend thinking, reflecting, building, connecting, or simply existing in silence. You were in input mode, constantly consuming, rarely creating. You bounce from one dopamine hit to the next, news, messages, videos, reels, updates. None of it sticks. None of it matters. But your brain is flooded with stimulation. And stimulation without meaning creates fatigue. You think you're tired because you've been busy. But what have you actually done? Scrolling is not rest. Multitasking is not productivity. Watching 20 different videos in a row is not knowledge. It's all noise. And your nervous system is overloaded from trying to process it all. This is the modern distraction trap. Confusing stimulation for satisfaction. We've been conditioned to equate activity with value. We think that as long as we're doing something, we're moving forward. But in reality, most of what we do is reactive, not intentional. We don't choose our focus. It's chosen for us by algorithms, trends, and emotional impulses. That's the trap. The more distracted we are, the more exhausted we feel, and the more we turn to the very things distracting us in the first place. It's a loop, a beautifully designed, algorithmically reinforced loop. Consider this. In the past, distraction was a momentary thing. You'd read a book, then maybe someone would knock on the door, or you'd hear a noise outside. Now, distraction is constant. It's in your pocket. It's in your hand. It's buzzing in your ear. It's lighting up your room at night. It's embedded in your work, your rest, even your conversations. Ever tried to watch a movie and couldn't go 10 minutes without checking your phone? That's not a lack of discipline. That's the trap in action. Your mind has been trained to seek novelty every few seconds. And every time you indulge that craving, a scroll, a click, a switch, you reinforce the habit loop. And let's be clear, distraction isn't just about phones and screens. It's mental too. Worrying about the future, replaying the past, checking in on what people think, trying to please everyone. These are all forms of mental clutter. Your attention is being fragmented, and when your attention fragments, your sense of meaning disappears with it. This is why people say they feel burned out, even when they haven't done much. Because it's not just what you do that drains you, it's how you do it. When you're constantly shifting gears, constantly reacting, constantly switching mental tabs, you never go deep enough to feel fulfilled, and that shallow engagement leaves you empty. Not because life is meaningless, but because you've been too distracted to live it. Here's another layer of the trap. We now equate rest with consumption. Instead of resting by doing nothing, which is what the mind truly needs, we rest by stimulating ourselves even more. We call it relaxing, to watch 10 YouTube videos in a row, or to scroll endlessly, or to binge a show. But neurologically, that's not rest. That's mental sprinting. You may be lying down physically, but your brain is still racing. And afterward, you feel more tired. Not because you worked too hard, but because you never actually paused. The trap deepens when you realize how distraction affects your sense of identity. When you're constantly consuming everyone else's life, their highlights, opinions, updates, you begin to lose sight of your own. You become passive, reactive, always following, never leading, always scrolling, never creating. You lose your edge. You forget your mission. You stop asking deep questions because your mind is too full of shallow answers. And here's the most sinister part. Distraction feels good, temporarily. That's why it's so effective. It mimics rest. It mimics pleasure. But it doesn't nourish you. It numbs you. And the more you numb yourself with distraction, the more disconnected you become from your real needs. Your purpose, your values, your desires. And that's when the exhaustion hits hardest. Not from doing too much, but from being too far from yourself. So what do? You begin by recognizing the trap. Awareness is the first break in the loop. Start noticing your patterns. When do you reach for your phone? When do you open a new tab? What are you trying to avoid? The discomfort of silence? The weight of a task? The fear of missing out? Begin to observe your distractions not with guilt, but with curiosity. Ask, what am I distracting myself from? Because distraction is never random. It always has a function. It's hiding something. Maybe it's boredom. Maybe it's loneliness. Maybe it's fear. But until you sit still long enough to face it, you'll keep escaping and calling it burnout. The modern world is designed to steal your focus. That's the business model. If they can hijack your attention, they can sell it. Your job is to fight back. Not with outrage, not with guilt, but with awareness, boundaries, and clarity. Because every minute you reclaim from distraction is a minute returned to your life. You are not burned out. You are overloaded, overstimulated, overconnected, and underfocused. But once you see the trap, you can step out of it. And that's where true energy begins. Why focus is the real fuel. Focus isn't just a nice habit. It's not just something productive people talk about in morning routines and hustle podcasts. Focus is life force. It's your mental energy channeled in one direction. It's the difference between spinning your wheels and gaining traction. And in a distracted world, focus has become a superpower. When you focus, your mind stops leaking energy. It stops scattering attention across dozens of tabs, notifications, conversations, and invisible worries. It becomes still, like a river redirected through a narrow channel. That narrowing is what creates power. Because raw time doesn't matter. It's focused time that produces results. 1 hour of deep, uninterrupted focus can be worth 10 hours of distracted effort. This is the mental fuel you're missing. This is why you're tired even though you worked all day. Because your attention was split. Your mind was diffused. And that dilution is what kills progress and purpose. We often talk about energy like it's a physical thing, tied to how much sleep you got, what you ate, how hard you pushed to the gym. And yes, those things matter. But mental energy follows attention. You lose energy not because you're physically overworked, but because you've spent the day shifting your focus over and over again without ever entering a state of flow. It's not the tasks that drain you. It's the switching. It's trying to do too many things with too little presence. And when your attention is split across emails, messages, apps, calls, social media, and background noise, your brain never gets to settle. You never sink deep enough to get lost in anything. You stay on the surface. Shallow, anxious, drained. Now think back to the last time you were truly focused. Not multitasking. Not checking your phone. Not jumping between tabs. You were fully in it. Maybe you were writing, building, designing, lifting, creating, coding, reading. And time disappeared. You felt alive, clear, energized. That was flow. That's what focus creates. It's not just about being productive. It's about reconnecting to your power. Focus is the gateway to fulfillment. Because it's only when you focus that you enter depth. And depth is where meaning lives. A distracted mind can't access purpose. It can't feel the joy of mastery or the clarity of direction. You can't figure out what you really want in life if you're constantly flooded with what everyone else is doing. You can't build something important if you can't sit still with one thing. And you can't grow spiritually if your soul is drowned in noise. Here's the truth. Most people are not tired of work. They're tired of meaningless distraction pretending to be work. They've forgotten the satisfaction of deep focus, of solving one real problem, of finishing something without constant interruption. Because in today's world, attention is under attack. Companies are spending billions to keep you clicking, swiping, watching. Your attention is their profit. And your fatigue? That's just collateral damage. This is why you feel so exhausted after a day of doing everything, but accomplishing nothing. Your brain never got to focus. And without focus, you can't feel momentum. Without momentum, you feel stuck. And when you feel stuck for long enough, it starts to feel like burnout. But here's the twist. You can be busy all day and still be focused. If you're intentional. If you decide what matters. If you protect your mind like it's sacred. If you say no to noise. If you design your environment, your habits, and your time around depth, not drama. This is where most people fall short. They wait to feel motivated before they focus. But that's backward. You don't focus because you feel motivated. You feel motivated because you're focused. Focus gives you wins. Wins build momentum. Momentum builds identity. And identity reshapes your whole life. So what does this mean in practical terms? It means you must stop glorifying distraction. Stop calling shallow productivity grind. Stop pretending that multitasking is impressive. It's not. It's mental self-harm. Focus isn't just about getting more done. It's about becoming more present, more clear, more human. It's about moving with direction instead of drifting in digital fog. You don't need to fix your energy. You need to fix your focus. Because when your focus is locked in, your energy rises automatically. The brain loves clarity. It loves challenge. It loves flow. It was built to do deep work, not endless swiping. And once you start giving it what it was built for, everything begins to change. Your energy, your mood, your performance, your sense of purpose. The truth is, your life expands or contracts based on your ability to control your attention. You can either be pulled in 1,000 directions, or you can decide. This is what I care about. This is what I'm building. This is where I'm going. And when you decide that, distractions become easier to ignore. Not because you have superhuman discipline, but because you've chosen something more powerful than noise. Intention. You are not burned out. Your fire is still there. It's just buried under 10,000 meaningless distractions. And once you remove the noise and point your mind toward one thing, one purpose, one mission, one focus, you will remember what real energy feels like. It's not hype. It's not caffeine. It's clarity. Focus is the real fuel. And once you tap into it, you'll realize you were never tired. You were just scattered. And scattered minds don't burn out. They fade. But focused minds? They ignite. The Stoic view on attention and mental energy. The Stoics lived in a world with no phones, no notifications, no internet. And yet, they were deeply concerned with distraction. Why? Because even without technology, the mind has always been vulnerable to noise. Emotional noise, social noise, inner noise. And the Stoics knew. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your attention. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, wrote in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That wasn't just poetic. It was tactical. Because Marcus knew that if you lose control of your focus, you lose control of your life. You become a slave to every impulse, every fear, every external demand. And that's exactly what modern distraction does. It enslaves you without chains. Stoicism teaches that your most sacred resource isn't time, or money, or talent. It's your attention. Why? Because attention is what you give your soul to. What you focus on becomes your reality. If you focus on anger, the world looks hostile. If you focus on comparison, you'll never feel enough. If you focus on gossip, your mind rots. But if you focus on wisdom, discipline, reason, and virtue, your mind becomes a fortress. That's why the Stoics trained their thoughts daily. Because they knew that an undisciplined mind is the enemy within. Epictetus, a slave who became a teacher of emperors, said, "It's not things that disturb us, but our opinions about them." Meaning, the event isn't the problem, it's your interpretation. And interpretations come from attention. If your attention is constantly hijacked by distractions, then your interpretations are never your own. They're the product of fear, emotion, or manipulation. That's what makes modern distractions so dangerous. It robs you of sovereignty over your own mind. You're not choosing your thoughts. You're reacting to them. You're not directing your energy. You're leaking it. And the Stoic solution? Take the reins back. So how did the Stoics protect their attention? First, they practiced mindful awareness. Before mindfulness was a buzzword, it was Stoic discipline. Marcus Aurelius would begin his days by writing down reminders. You will meet people today who are selfish, rude, dishonest. Why? Not to judge them, but to prepare his mind. He wanted to control his response before the world tried to control him. That's attention training. Second, they used negative visualization. Instead of avoiding discomfort, they imagined worst-case scenarios, not to scare themselves, but to become emotionally prepared. By facing fear mentally, they became immune to panic. That meant they could stay calm, focused, and rational even under pressure. That's not just resilience, it's clarity under fire. Third, the Stoics built a system of mental filters. They didn't accept every thought as true. They questioned it. Is this useful? Is this virtuous? Is this helping me live better? If the answer was no, they dismissed it. Modern distraction offers unlimited input, but the Stoic trains for discernment. You don't need more information. You need less noise. Fourth, they practiced voluntary discomfort. Seneca would sleep on the floor, fast, walk barefoot, not to punish himself, but to remember, I don't need as much as I think. That builds mental freedom, because if you're no longer afraid of discomfort, you're no longer controlled by fear. And when you're no longer afraid, you're focused. Modern Stoicism isn't about robes and sandals. It's about sharpening your inner sword. You live in a world that profits off your distraction. Every click, every swipe, every moment of your attention is being auctioned to the highest bidder. And that means your focus must be earned and guarded. So what can you take from the Stoics today? Begin your morning with intention, not reaction. Don't open your phone. Open your mind. Read a quote. Write in a journal. Set a target for your attention. Limit your inputs. The Stoics believed in curating their minds. You don't need a constant stream of news, content, opinions, and updates. Choose a few sources of truth. Eliminate the rest. Train your focus like a muscle. The Stoics believed in discipline, not as punishment, but as liberation. Discipline is how you reclaim energy, time, and peace. Start small. One focused hour. One deep conversation. One book with no distractions. Return to reason. When you feel emotional chaos, anxiety, anger, fear, pause. Ask, is this within my control? That question alone can shift your entire state of mind. The Stoics weren't perfect, but they practiced every day. They didn't try to control the world. They mastered their response to it. And that mastery begins with attention. If you want to feel clear again, if you want to stop feeling burned out, overwhelmed, emotionally numb, don't escape your life. Escape your distractions. That's what the Stoics would do. Because here's the truth. Your mind is not broken. Your spirit is not dead. You're not weak. You're just unfocused. And focus is not something you're born with. It's something you build. Reclaim your attention, and you'll reclaim your power. That's not just Stoic advice. That's the key to everything. How to reclaim focus and feel alive again. So now you understand the trap. You're not burned out. You're just distracted. And you've seen what the Stoics knew all along. That the mind, when left undisciplined, becomes chaotic and weak. But here's the good news. Focus is not a mystery. It's a practice. You don't need superpowers. You need structure. You need clarity. You need to stop leaking energy and start living with intention. Reclaiming your focus starts with one decision. You must protect your mind like it's your most valuable asset. Because it is. Let's break this down into actionable steps. No fluff. No hype. Just real, lasting focus. 1. Create a focus ritual. Every powerful mind has a routine. Not because routine is trendy, but because routine protects clarity. If your mornings start with chaos, checking your phone, rushing around, reacting to notifications, your mind is scattered before you've even started the day. Instead, build a focus ritual. Something simple. Something sacred. Wake up. Sit in silence. Journal. Stretch. Breathe. Read one powerful quote. Ask yourself, What matters today? Then write it down. No screens for at least 30 minutes. You're setting the tone. You're telling your mind, today, we lead. We don't react. If you control your first hour, you win the day. 2. Time block with intensity. Multitasking is the silent killer of clarity. You think you're being efficient, but you're actually fragmenting your mind into 100 pieces. Instead, use the timeless method, time blocking. Pick one task. Set a timer for 50 minutes. Go all in. No distractions. No checking. No switching. At the end of those 50 minutes, take a 10-minute break. Walk, stretch, breathe. Then repeat. 1 deep hour of work is worth 5 hours of reactive effort. Do this daily, and your focus will sharpen like a blade. 3. Eliminate low-value noise. You must make a decision. What is worthy of my attention? Every app, notification, and update is competing for your energy. You cannot win this battle unless you ruthlessly curate what enters your mind. Unfollow accounts that drain you. Mute group chats. Turn off non-essential notifications. Check email twice a day, not 50. Delete apps that don't serve your purpose. Your phone is not evil, but it must be tamed. Remember this. Every distraction has a cost, and the cost is your life. 4. Make silence a daily habit. We are so addicted to noise that silence now feels uncomfortable. But silence is not empty. It's where your real thoughts live. It's where clarity returns. So every day, schedule at least 10 to 20 minutes of absolute silence. No phone, no music, no screen. Just sit. Let your mind settle. Let the dust clear. In that stillness, ask yourself, what am I really feeling? What have I been avoiding? What truly matters? This practice alone can change your life. Because clarity isn't found in noise. It's found in stillness. 5. Learn to say no without guilt. Distraction isn't just digital. It's social. You say yes to things you don't care about. You agree to obligations out of fear. You engage in conversations that waste your time and drain your spirit. Reclaiming your focus means reclaiming your boundaries. Practice saying no without explanation. Say no to things that don't align with your goals. Say no to people who drain your energy. Say no to anything that pulls you away from your highest self. You don't owe anyone your peace. Guard it like a lion. 6. Choose deep work over shallow tasks. Most of your day is spent on shallow work. Quick replies, low-impact tasks, mental filler. But your soul is starving for deep work. The kind that challenges you, stretches you, and builds something real. Block out 2 to 3 hours a day for deep creation. Write, build, solve, design, study. Make something that matters. Enter flow. It doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be real. This is what nourishes the mind. This is what makes you feel alive. 7. Get bored on purpose. Yes, boredom is your secret weapon. Why? Because it resets your brain. When you're always stimulated, your dopamine system burns out. You become numb, unmotivated, drained. The solution? Intentional boredom. Sit outside. Stare at the sky. Go for a walk with no phone. Wash dishes without a podcast. Let your brain do nothing and watch what comes up. Your mind needs that space to restore clarity, insight, and ideas. Boredom is not the enemy. It's the doorway to deep thought. 8. Track your energy, not just your tasks. Too many people track what they do, but not how it makes them feel. If you want real focus, start tracking your energy. After each major task, ask, did this energize me or drain me? Patterns will emerge. You'll start to notice which people, tasks, environments, or apps kill your focus, and which ones light you up. Adjust accordingly. Design your life around energy. Because productivity without energy is empty. 9. Anchor your life to meaning, not momentum. The real root of focus is meaning. You will never sustain clarity if you don't know what you're aiming at. So ask yourself, why am I doing all this? What is my mission? It doesn't have to be grand. It has to be real. Maybe you want to grow, to lead, to break a cycle, to create something beautiful, to become someone you're proud of. That's your anchor. Return to it daily. Write it down. Say it out loud. Let that meaning pull you forward when motivation fades. 10. Train attention like a warrior trains a sword. Focus is not a mood. It's not something that shows up when you feel inspired. It's something you train. Like a warrior sharpens a blade. Like a monk sharpens awareness. Like an athlete sharpens form. Daily, deliberate training. Read books slowly, with no background noise. Hold one thought for 5 minutes. Practice eye contact in conversation. Do one thing at a time. Be where your feet are. Cut distractions mercilessly. Rebuild your attention span. 1 hour, 1 day at a time, and celebrate the wins. Every hour of deep focus is a rebellion against the modern world. Every moment of presence is a victory. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not burned out. You're just distracted. But now, you have the blueprint. Now you can choose. Because the life you want, the clarity, the creativity, the peace, the power, it doesn't come from working harder. It comes from focusing deeper. And once you taste the energy that comes from real focus, you'll never trade it for cheap distraction again. You made it to the end. And that alone proves something. It proves you're ready to stop living on autopilot. It proves that you're tired of feeling numb, tired of being pulled in 1,000 directions, and tired of calling it burnout. When deep down, you know it's distraction. You're not broken. You're not weak. Your spirit isn't gone. It's just buried under noise. But you've seen through it now. You know the truth. Attention is your superpower. Focus is your freedom. And every moment you take it back, you become more powerful than most people ever realize. Burnout isn't your enemy. Distraction is. Every shallow scroll, every needless comparison, every hour spent reacting instead of creating. It's not just wasting time, it's wasting you. But now you have a choice. You can start protecting your mind like it matters. Because it does. You can build silence into your day. You can create before you consume. You can live slow in a world addicted to speed. And you can do it not because it's trendy, but because you're done being mentally hijacked. You're here to lead yourself, not follow the noise. You're here to live deliberately, not drown in inputs. And you're here to build something real, not react to everything fake. So here's your mission. Reclaim 1 hour of deep focus today. Just one. Phone off. Tabs closed. One meaningful task. One deep conversation. One quiet walk. 1 hour where you're fully alive. Then do it again tomorrow. And the next day. That's how clarity returns. That's how peace returns. That's how you return. And if this video spoke to you, if it shook something loose, if it helped you see through the fog, then share it. Someone in your life needs this message. Someone you know is calling it burnout when really, they've just forgotten how to think clearly. Be the one who reminds them. Subscribe for more. Not just because it helps the channel, but because we're building something here. A tribe of thinkers, doers, and warriors who are done being distracted. We're not here to be average. We're here to be focused, free, and fiercely alive. So remember this. You're not burned out. You're just distracted. Take your mind back. Let's begin.